Well, as you can see, mist out there today. It's cleared a little. It was more than that in around the house. In fact, maybe only till 10 minutes ago, but that's normally a view of the lake down there. Hey, hi there, Jonathan here. I'm out. I thought it might be raining, but it's not. It's just like super misty, so that really fits our place. And I'm going to take this opportunity to show you around a few things we've got around the garden. Some of them are bought and some of them are sort of repurposed or made or just used as they are, but you may not think of using them. So the idea is that it's to sort of help you or remind you or encourage you to use some things, keep your eyes out for some things so you might be able to decorate your property a little bit. Sometimes we sort of forget what we could do with things or what we've got. And so I've sort of got them in two categories. There's some things that are you might find sort of on the side of the road, you know, outside someone's property that they're trying to get rid of. At a good place for me is the refuse dump at their shop, not at the dump, but they have a shop there of second-hand things. And also people might give you things, or you might just come across them one way, you know, through a job that you're doing or whatever. So some things are actually structures that I'm going to show you that are quite often free or cheap. Even the online shops that people buy things from, I don't even know what they're called, not Amazon, but when they're secondhand. And the other things on my list are things that you may already have around your property, and I'll just sort of elaborate on those as we go. So let's go and have a little look and see if we can all get some ideas and encouragement out of things. So this one is a Lister stationary engine. So it's an English stationary engine. I don't know when they were around. I know it was a long time ago. I'm guessing a good 100 years, possibly a bit more. And they weigh, well, they don't weigh a ton, but they get close to it. Incredibly heavy. But they're the kind of things, if you get them and they're not in good order, they're not running, or they've got pieces missing, you can often just sort of score them. People often let you have them or take them. Sometimes it might only be the big flywheels, or it might be just the bottom half, might be just the nameplate. This was one that was in a nearby farm to us, and we spoke to the farmer and he said we could have it. So Brenna and I struggled and pushed and finally got it just on the back of our tilting trailer and jumped up and down on the other end to bring the trailer back down to horizontal, and we came down our drive and then we managed to slide it off. And then Brenna painted it. So it's been there a few years now. You see it's got some lichen growing on it. The only thing, well, there wasn't anything wrong. It's not running, so it didn't matter. I did build that black box on the top just to cover up the head, I guess, down into the engine. Wouldn't have mattered, but I just felt it looked completed. I know it's not authentic shape or what would be on top, but I'm happy with it. So those are the kind of things you could come across. And of course you can't go past a little lantern, can you? So that one's only about a foot high. You could even put a candle in it, or a light, hook it up to 12 volt lighting or something if you wanted to. So we've got that one just underneath that Ace of Viridis. It almost gets covered. It's been moved about twice as the plant's grown. I've slid it out further and further, and I've got it sitting on a little rock. And then there's the bigger lanterns, of course. That's probably about 2.5 feet high, maybe nearly 3 to the very top finial on it. So the idea of this video was to help us not spend money. So that one we bought both of the lanterns. The little ones, they're not usually too bad a price. This one was a lot more. We did get it new, but it's weathered really well. And it's got that scleranthus moss growing around it. It's got a maple that'll come into leaf soon over behind it, and conifer as well. So to help us not spend money, we can make our own tower type things, and they don't have to be lanterns necessarily. So this was some Hinawera stone I had left over, these 2 rectangle pieces, and the other pieces are South Island schist, which I'd cut for something else. but you may have square pieces, may even be timber, wood, maybe railway sleepers. So they're called inukshuk, those particular sculptures made by Inuit and other Arctic dwellers for communication and navigational aids. And so I'm not an Inuit and I'm nowhere near the North Pole, but we've got our own little inukshuk, and those pieces of stone and rock I'd had for years, so it basically costs me nothing. So that's the whole idea of this video. So going out to our avenue of silver birches that we planted out there, we've got a garden on the left, which is not a wild flower garden, it's more like a wild perennial garden. So it's got a lot of anemones, penstemons, leonotis, leatris, foxgloves. But we've got these steel flags, so we call this the flag garden. So they're not made of Corten steel, they're just made of mild steel. They'll still last years and years. They're not even in the ground, they're on little pillars. So although you'd have to buy the steel, you may actually have, or come across some, there may be some sort of an old table that could be cut up. They don't have to be this many, I'm not sure how many I've got here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Yeah, there's probably 30 to 40 in total. But it could be the same thing but on a smaller scale. Possibly wouldn't be made of timber, could be made of railway sleeper type things. But the idea was to have these different sizes, and you see they start smaller and get wider as they go, and the side is a mirror image. This is a concrete bird bath that someone I know didn't want, so I now have it, but I gave it a paint because it was just a concrete colour and it looked terrible. Admittedly the blue is quite bright for blue water, but as those chorus around the bottom grow and that rhododendron grows, it's all going to harmonise and the birds can have a drink if they like. So that was a free object apart from some paint. I think I already had the paint from something else, so things like that can be handy. And just while I'm looking, along the same vein as the machinery that we looked at back with the stationary engine, I have 2 old mowers that I painted up, and this is just one of them. I think they're both Massport. So they're usually very easy to find, free or next to nothing, you know, when they're in a little bit of disrepair. That one, I think that one does spin round and round, does work. I painted it all obviously, and I had to make new handles for it, and because it's in under the overhanging roof, it's lasted very well. Another thing that came my way was the orb behind me. I call it an orb. Big steel cauldron dish, like a witch's cauldron, and I've got the 2 lamandras growing in it. So things like that, I got that for free. It had a hole in the bottom, but that was fine for planting in. The other thing is these field tiles here, these terracotta field tiles. I just made a raised planter with those, and I used a ring off a couple of wine barrels that had rotted out, so I kept all the rings, which I'm going to make more things out of those rings, but I just made some raised planters with those, and that was actually the wooden staves from the barrel, but I just gave a sand and a coat of varnish, drilled a hole through them and put a rod through, and it's got a nut just to hold them tight. So apart from buying the barrels in the first place, which had plants in them, the whole thing cost next to nothing. For me, I felt that I was fortunate as well. I did get a wagon. I've got 2 wagons, and there's one here and one down on our deck by the house. The one down there has got bonsais and things on it, and this one's just sitting in this garden, and it's slowly naturalising with the lavenders and the crocuses at the back and the odd little structure on top of it, just for a bit of interest. Gates are always a good score, and they pretty much could fit into any sort of garden and almost any garden size, even in the most sort of upmarket city type garden, you can still get away with a gate as long as you plant up around it well. This big steel piece of pipe, it's obviously off a big long length, but that was just a piece that we saw, and we asked if we could have it, and they said yeah, we're not even using it, it's been there forever. So it wasn't terribly heavy, managed to have some help me roll it onto the vehicle and brought it home, and then I rolled it up here from the house, so it's up a little slope, and put it in place so it's open because it's a pipe, so it's good for planting in. This was a little well that I made just out of some bricks that we had, and inside it was a big plastic barrel that I cut in half, and it has a water lily in it. It's not showing up at this time of the year, but very simple sort of an idea. I've got that creeper that's found its way on there and is acclimatised, and it's probably a weed, but it looks good. I did get a couple of the plastic wine barrels just from the farm supply shop. They're empty ones and they hadn't had anything particularly poisonous in them, or not poisonous at all really, and so we cut this one sort of a third off the top, and then my wife Brenna gave it a paint up so it was blue all over, so we gave it a coat of green, and then she put water lilies on it, and there's a water lily in that one as well, which once again is waiting for summer. I built a cage over it because we do have a few birds around. Some of them are magpies who sometimes cause trouble, or can cause trouble, so we decided to keep them out. I think I got these barrels for, it was a funny number, it was like $19 each or something, so not a whole lot of money, especially if you cut them in half the other way, like the other water lily little well, because you get two pieces out of it, $10 each. Another use for those terracotta field tiles, so we've got one on top of the other here. The top one is a little bit longer than the bottom ones, twice the length actually. So we put some steel rods in the ground just to help it stand up. I think I filled them with gravel, and it's got a pot on top. I'm going to try and make like a leafy sort of a sculpture, like a flax type thing on top. These pots were a stunning white concrete. Well, it didn't take us long to get some paint on them. So Brenna, my wife, she got out the brush and the paint and attacked them. And these are old sheets or offcuts of kitchen bench top type things that I've managed to get from a friend who had a whole pile of them just lying around. They're all different textures, but most of them are rectangle and square, so I've just put them in an angle on the ground. I mean, look at that scleranthus moss growing up that. Now logs, they're a fantastic thing in your garden. They always have good shape, and they take on a life of their own. Look at the little funguses growing on there. I always feel that this one is like a great big skeleton, like a big shoulder bone or something. It's these big kind of sheaths that just take on so much life around them and on them, and the plants cascading over them and through them. Rocks are another great thing to just be sitting in your garden, whether they're on show like these three purposely spaced out in this Japanese type garden, or sitting like this one in amongst Marlborough daisies. This is quite a large one here. I guess the only downside with rocks is they're so jolly heavy, so to get them and to get them onto your property can be a real effort. Sometimes ones this size, which I'll just sit my boot up on it to give you an idea of the size, can almost be done in a wheelbarrow, but yeah, very heavy. So hopefully that may help you if that's what you needed, if you just need some encouragement or some ideas. You know, it's not all the ideas in the world, and it's not necessarily the best or the worst ideas. It's just helping us really to just keep our eyes open for things, and maybe use what we have, maybe around behind a shed or in the garage or under the house, you know, behind the neighbour's house, down at a relation's, you know, whatever. But you can just make some things really interesting by sort of playing with them. You don't have to dress them too much. Some you don't have to do anything with. But some of them you can put together. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Have a good day, and like what you've liked. If you think there's something here that you might have a question about or you might want, ask me a question. It could be, how did I do it? Where did I get it? What did I use? How long did it last? Could be steel, could be rocks, wood. Let me know. I'm sure to have an answer for you. And I'll see you on the next one. The rain has started to come and the mist has not got any less. So I'm going inside. See you later.